Hi Fragrance fam, I'm Maddie, and if you've been here before, welcome back. For everyone who is new to the AFI Project Lab, we are so glad that you're joining us to make some soap today. In this video, I'll be sharing an easy to work with swirlable cold process soap recipe that's scented with our version of Bath & Body Works Strawberry Pound Cake fragrance. By following along, you'll learn how to incorporate fragrances with high vanillin content into your soaps, because discoloration shouldn't get in the way of you using your favorite scents. So without further ado, let's get started. So I'm starting with some melt and pour soap base to make some little strawberry embeds. So you can skip this step and go right to the cold process recipe by jumping here on the timeline, right there. But if you want to see how it's done, stay right here. Melt down about 1.5 ounces of your soap base. You can use a clear or white base, but clearly I chose clear. I'm going to go ahead and get this melted down, and I'll be right back in just a few seconds. Now that everything is now liquid, we can go ahead and go into our next step, which is of course my favorite, and we're going to be using our version of Strawberry Pound Cake by Bath & Body Works. Guys, it smells so good. I already have this all measured out, so I'm just gonna go ahead and pour it in. Yo, it smells so good. To finish it off, add in a couple of drops of red liquid dye or a 1/4 teaspoon of mica powder and give it a stir. Fill some mini strawberry molds with the soap while it's still warm and then set them aside for the moment. Alright, as you can see, it is now time for the cold process recipe. To make this process easy, prepare all of your ingredients beforehand. That means measuring them all out using a precise scale and keeping them organized so you can stay on top of them. First up, go ahead and grab your safety gear so you can work with lye. That includes some gloves here, some goggles, we got our long sleeves, and then lastly a respirator. Yes, a respirator. The fumes and everything, it can get a little strong, so we just want to make sure that we're nice and protected. Slowly pour the sodium hydroxide lye into your distilled water, taking care not to make any splashes. Give it a gentle stir and break up any lye particles that may have clumped together on the bottom. And while the lye dissolves into the water, we're going to go ahead and set this aside and prep our oils. This recipe has lots of liquid oils, which means it's slow to trace and easy to make swirls with. So I have my large mixing pot here, and in here I have palm oil, olive oil, coconut oil, sweet almond oil, castor oil, and avocado oil. I really like this recipe, but if you want to swap anything out, be sure to run your recipe through a lye calculator because your measurements will change based on your oil ingredients. Make sure you melt and stir all of your palm oil before measuring it out and adding it to everything else. Now this will ensure that all the fatty acids that make palm oil soap so great, they're evenly mixed together. Go ahead and get a double boiler rolling and then place your oils in to melt the coconut oil. And while that's going, go ahead and let your lye water continue to cool, and then we can prep the colors. These colors will represent the strawberry and cream notes in the fragrance, so measure out a teaspoon of red mica powder and titanium dioxide in separate beakers, then disperse them each in a tablespoon of lightweight liquid oil. And as you can see here, I have my sweet almond oil. So to break up any clumps, use a frother or a mini mixer to blend each of the colors into the oil, and then set the colors off to the side for now. We're going to check back in on our lye water and then our oils. Alright, so I have my oils all melted down, and when it comes to making swirl designs, I like to use soap at warmer temperatures, usually just over 120 degrees, so I'm ready to go ahead and jump into the thick of it. We have our immersion blender here, and we're just going to go ahead and pop it into our mixing pot. Tap it on the bottom a couple of times to get any bubbles out, and gently pour the lye water solution down the stem of the blender to prevent any splashing. Pulse the blender a couple of times, following up by some manual stirring to ensure everything comes together to saponify. Keep your eye out for trace. This is when the oils and lye water fully emulsify and stay together as one uniform liquid. Here's what a light trace looks like. A couple of swirls of the blender over the surface of the soap and you'll see some little trails that indicate trace. To work around the natural discoloration that results from fragrances containing vanillin, split about 1/3 of the soap up into 2 separate pouring pitchers. Only add the Strawberry Pound Cake fragrance into the main batch of soap and stir it in until it's well blended. You'll notice right away when it starts to discolor a bit, but no worries. This will represent the cake part of our Strawberry Pound Cake soap. The other 2 sections of soap will represent the strawberry and cream notes in the fragrances. Because we didn't add any fragrance to this soap, they won't discolor and you'll get some gorgeous red and white swirls. Add a bit of the plain soap into your beakers with the mica and titanium dioxide and add them back into their respective pouring pitchers. This just helps get the most out of your color mixtures. Using a large wooden loaf mold, fill it about 1/3 of the way with the main batch of fragranced soap. Tap it on the counter a couple times to flatten it out and get rid of any air pockets. Now you can make your pretty swirls. Holding the pouring pitcher with the red batch of soap high above the white batch, pour one into the other, moving the pitcher up and down to get the red soap distributed throughout. Make sure to get every last drop and go in there with a spatula. Gently move the spatula around there just a tiny bit, making sure not to overmix the colors and muddle them. Now use the spatula to help you gently pour the swirl soap into the mold. Start in the corner of the mold and slowly move along the length of the mold to fill it all the way up. Next, top it off with the rest of your fragranced soap. You can pop the little strawberry embeds that we made earlier if you want now, or you can let the soap firm up just a little bit so you can add some texture to the top using the back of a spoon. Then you can pop in the little strawberries in just about an inch apart from each other so each bar gets its very own berry. To minimize soda ash, give the top of the soap a spritz of isopropyl alcohol and set the loaf somewhere to set up. To encourage gelling to brighten up the colors of the soap, insulate it while it hardens. Because this recipe has lots of liquid oils, it can take a couple of days or so to unmold. So after about 48 to 36 hours, your soap will be ready. So here is a batch of the same soap I made a couple of days ago, and I'm ready to see how it turned out. So let's get to slicing. As you can see, the portion of the soap we added fragrance to has discolored just a little bit, but no worries. These colorful swirls really pop off the tan color and drive home the strawberry pound cake theme. Over the next couple of days, the rest of the tan soap will discolor just a bit more, but I think it still looks adorable. So here's the final look of the bars, and I hope you guys found this video helpful and you learned how to work with Vanillin or just give you some inspo for a pretty dessert themed soap. Don't forget that we offer 6 free samples with every order so you can test our fragrances in your own soap. Check whether some of your favorite scents have Vanillin in them using our web store for quick and easy soaping. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me in the AFI Project Lab today for another cold process soap tutorial. Leave us a like to help support what we do and become a member of the Fragrance Fam by subscribing and ringing that bell icon. Be sure to sign up for our newsletter for exclusive weekly 10% off coupons by heading over to our web store, link down below. And I'll catch you guys in the next one real soon. This is just a bye for now. Also, I think I might eat these. Just kidding, don't eat them.